Oh, look at you, new kit, Kenny. Love that.
Yeah, it's unusual for me. I normally wait. I'm a bit of a skinflint, and I normally wait till it's reduced after Christmas. But I just liked it, Matt.
I
I
have to
liked it.
say, maybe I don't know if it's something about the power of the Oxford United socials or what, but I saw it and I don't know. I really want to get one. I really want to get one. So I'm a little bit jealous of you at the moment. How's it feeling? How's it looking?
I'm not going to lie, Matt. It is. It's a little bit tighter than I seem to remember shirts being. They seem to get smaller each year.
Yeah,
Just a
it's
little.
interesting that, isn't it? I guess the closer you get past 40, the smaller the shirts get. It's weird, isn't it? It's really
Very,
weird.
yeah, really
I
strange.
need to look into that.
Yeah, I might complain to the club about it. Similar though to your one, obviously the one that you were in there, obviously without the kind of the ox on the front,
That
the
thing, yeah, the
that
Ox,
big
which I'm
one.
looking at now for people who can see video. But I mean, it's a complete nod to the 95, 96 shirt, isn't it?
Yeah, I like it. Good job, Oxford United.
Seems bizarre though, doesn't it, to have it ready so early in pre-season? Remarkable, really. Almost like I don't know, they maybe had an incentive to get it ready for maybe I don't know a tour of Indonesia or something.
Remarkable. I think after all the criticism they got last year as well, because you remember last year it came out literally the day before the season. I don't
Very
even think it
much.
was ready in the club shop. Anyway, should we get on with the pod, Matt?
Run that sting.
The big man with a big goal on the big occasion.
Welcome to episode 14 of You Are My Oxford. We're, of course, in cricket season, aren't we? So it seems bizarre that we've already got a big fixture to review.
Yeah, Matt, so much news to get through. So let's start with a big pre-season match that everyone's been talking about. How did you get on at Oxford City in the charity game you played in?
Let's say, Dan, I'm still walking, which I think is the main thing. I think the older I get, I think the word cameo keeps cropping up. And I managed 20 minutes, Dan, so not too bad. But also, I managed to score, which, it's always such a beautiful feeling. So I notched, no, it was an amazing day. 3-3, I played for the Oxfordshire Select 11 against an Abingdon United 11. 3-3, great day for Joey Beauchamp, in memory of Joey Beauchamp and Chris Potter, and hopefully a good few £1,000 raised for charity.
Brilliant job, and lovely to see you've still got it in front of goal. Next on the agenda, the second biggest game of the weekend, Oxford United against the Indonesian All Stars. You obviously didn't pay to watch because you were playing at the same time.
That's very true. I must admit, I'm one of those people who finds it really difficult to get excited by pre-season friendlies. And so what I quite like in this kind of digital social age is that the goals do come in that kind of bite-sized format. So obviously I've seen all the goals, read a bit of the reviews and reaction. And yeah, interesting one, very interesting one. Lots of little interesting tidbits to pick out.
A goal for our new signing. Why don't you tell us all about him?
BDK, I'm not going to pronounce his name. Brian De
All right, Nick
Kismaker.
Harris. Yeah, all right, Nick Harris. How are you getting on there? What did you think? Have you seen the goal back? Have
I
you
mean,
watched?
listen, what to say about the new signing? That was a very accomplished finish, wasn't it? I love the way he took it. I love the way he struck it. I love the confidence. He's our only signing so far this summer. He's a big one. Apparently, we wrestled off other teams in the championship like Blackburn to get him. Obviously, we're not going for the scattergun approach this year. So very interesting to kind of see our strategy so far. I think a lot of Oxford fans are maybe a bit worried there hasn't been more names through the door. But it seems like a big signing and a lot of money paid. So fingers crossed.
I've got a criticism. He's got a slightly weird, kind of wispy moustache. Matt, you're a man of fashion. Where do you stand on moustaches?
I must admit, I'm not a fan of moustache. I think, it's why I don't watch rugby these days. Everyone's got a moustache and a mullet. And I do worry for the man that he's maybe sneaking into that kind of hipster vibe. But, hopefully he'll get rid of that and be aerodynamic by August the 9th.
No place for moustaches since about 1985, in my view. We've also had other news. We've had new contracts for Sam Long, Jamie Cumming, Tyler, Mark Harris. Any thoughts?
Again, interesting strategy. Like you know, it seems like the club are very keen to consolidate our, you know, being in the championship and tie down those kind of core key players. I mean, obviously, look at Sam Long, and he's someone you want around the club for kind of ever. But Jamie Cumming, I've said it here, I've said it in other places, possibly the best goalkeeper Oxford United have ever had. And I think really important that we keep people like him. Tyler, interesting again, because he's been the one we think, well, we could recoup some money, but maybe Rowett actually this season get pre-season in him and spend time with him and want him to be a key part of the team. And Harris, yeah, I mean, what a backing, I guess, from Rowett. So yeah, really interested with the strategy. What are you making of it?
Yeah, I don't know really.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have been devastated had we, for instance, listened to offers on Harris from like first division clubs. But I think, he is. I mean, his work ethic is brilliant. He's obviously a great bloke to have around the club. He scored a couple of goals, obviously, against the mighty Indonesian All Stars 11. I mean, hopefully now he's had a bit more kind of experience in the Championship. I know he came from a Championship club originally, but you'd like to think maybe he might kind of get a bit more kind of in front of goal action. I probably think as well, this season with Gary Rowett now having a pre-season to sort things out, he might be thinking about us being more than just a kind of long throw and snatching a couple of chances on the break type of team. I don't know. I mean, who
Yeah.
knows? Maybe if he's our only striker, or our first choice striker come the start of the season, I'll be a little bit concerned. But if he's one of, a couple, two or three strikers, then yeah,
And what do you think is going to happen between now and the end of the transfer window?
literally no idea.
Yeah. Interesting, isn't it?
Yes, it's yeah.
Very interesting. I wonder also, just to wrap up on this, but I wonder if Rowett's also maybe looked at our squad in the second half of last season. Think, I know players, and actually, we've got a decent, solid squad here, and maybe I just want to tweak here and there to get us up to mid-table or playoffs.
I guess in other news, Matt, season tickets have sold out. You got yourself one again?
I have, did I debate it? No, when it came up for renewal, I was like, let's go for it. I enjoyed it so much last season, and I don't know, I'm feeling really confident. I know it's early days in pre-season, but I like to think we could kick on a bit next season, but let's see. I've changed seats slightly. I was in possibly the worst seat in the East Stand last season, so I've moved inwards a bit, and I'm getting ever closer to you, Dan.
Creeping towards somewhere we can actually see the pitch. I look for. I'll wave at you. Anyway, yeah, brilliant.
I'll ignore you again.
Dan.
Dan.
Brilliant. Yeah, I've got one as well. Fair play to the club. I think they have put them up ever so slightly in price, but really not as much as they could have done. Given the demand for them, they could have just put them up another kind of 50, 100 quid, I thought, but they haven't, and I think that's absolute credit to the club. Good. Anything else to talk about?
No, I think, listen, excited by the new season, loving the new shirt, I do have to say, and it's looking very fetching on you today, but I'm a big fan of it, and I think we could do great things. I hope not to see as many man boobs as I'm looking at the moment this season, but I think I probably will.
You probably will. Yeah, it must be difficult for the club, right? Because on the one hand, they're thinking about, they want these to look good on the players, right? So they're making them snug and like slimline. But most of the blokes that are buying them,
I think I'm going to have to go XL or double XL, which is a little bit of a worry.
yeah, I mean, this for anyone who wants advice on what size to go for, this is a large, and I would consider myself to be like a 41-inch chest.
Dan, can I give you some advice?
Yeah.
Don't put it in the wash. Well, all this talk of shirts got Dan and I thinking a bit. Forget what the best-selling shirt ever is. What is the best ever Oxford United shirt of all time?
Yeah, we've had some horrors. I don't even remember this one, Matt.
Oh.
Absolute horror show. Also connected with the this is from the 2001 season, which is probably the worst season ever in the history of our club, and I include the relegation from the Football League. This season was probably worse. It was our last season at the Manor. An absolute minging shirt. We've also had some absolute beauties. So what we've done is we've taken it in turns to pick 4 shirts, our 4 favourite Oxford United shirts of all time. And from that, we're going to choose a top 4, which we're then going to put out on our socials, and we want you, the audience, to decide. I just want to say, Matt, as well, we are indebted to the fabulous Oxford Kits website, which if you haven't visited, it's just one of the best websites in all of like Oxford United online. It's just this incredible archive. It shows you every single kit we wore throughout the history of time, including in individual games. So if you want to know exactly what kit we wore against Chesterfield, for instance, in 1986, no, it wouldn't be 86, whichever year, 1996, it will tell you exactly what kit we wore and what combinations. So like what colour socks and what colour shorts. And it's just a remarkable, remarkable website.
It's one of those websites where you can literally while away the hours. If you're bored of work or something, head to Oxford Kits, and there's hours of fun to be had there.
I tried to get the person on who runs the Oxford Kits website for the podcast, and they are reluctant, let's say, to let the world know who they are. So they said no, but they have really kindly let us use all of their images for this section. Matt, do you want to go first? Why don't you tell us about your first choice of kit?
And as I say, in no particular order at the moment. We've chosen between us. We've chosen, I think, 8 kits. So let's start first. And the reason I'm picking this kit is because it's the kit when I first got introduced to the club. So it's from a moment in time where I was first introduced to Oxford United, and it is the 84-85 pinstripe number, which I think the manufacturer was Spall, if I'm not mistaken. And I love this shirt. I love this shirt because it evokes a kind of golden era in the club, of course. I mean, it is the shirt that we won through back-to-back promotions, and we're still the only club to do that ever in the history of English football, to win what was the old 3rd division, the old 2nd division, back-to-back as champions. I really like the shade of yellow. The pinstripe's very interesting, but I see this shirt and I just see John Aldridge rippling, and I see Jim Smith, putting a fist up with a little gritty smile. The sponsors, looking back, a bit dodgy and kind of evoke the kind of bad times that were then to come, but it's just very cool, and it's probably an easy one to go to because we had such success in this shirt. And as I say, my first games watching Oxford United, I think in that 84-85 season, I think I went to a couple of games. My dad used to sneak us into the Beach Road, not for the full match. I was only 6 or 7 at the time. And my dad used to turn up about 15 minutes before the end of the game, and we used to sneak in for free. The guy on the door used to let us in for free for the last 15 minutes of the game. So that was my first introduction to the Manor Ground and to Oxford United. And seeing that shirt will always evoke those memories of those first smells, sights, and sounds, and utter joy of supporting Oxford United.
It's a shirt I don't own, and it's probably one of the shirts I wish I owned the most. Occasionally, when you're at games, mate, you see people like wearing them, and you think, "Oh, you jammy!" I've got a friend who's got one. You jammy git! I think every time I see him wearing it, because they are such beautiful, iconic shirts.
How much did you pay for it?
I think he got it originally. I think it's like an OG that he bought back at the time.
How much would you pay for it?
Oh. I mean, I don't know. I go onto eBay sometimes, and you kind of see, old shirts being sold, and they're always a totally ridiculous price. As somebody who owns lots of old Oxford United shirts, I always think, oh, maybe I could sell some of mine and pay for the family holiday or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I probably paid quite a lot of money for it. Yeah. If I had lots of money, I'd pay lots of money for it, Matt. Yeah. But
it is a goodie. It is a goodie from a golden era, as I said. Right, next, Dan, what have you got for us?
Which one shall I go for, Matt? I'm gonna go retro as well to start off with. I'm gonna go for the 1980 to 1982 shirt. Let me show it to you here. Those of you who are listening to the podcast, let me describe this thing to you. It's a solid yellow top. It's Adidas in design with a big Adidas logo on the top right hand corner. It's got the classic three stripes. It's got big 1980s style colours, enormous, great big flapping collars. It's got royal blue shorts, not the navy blue that you might be used to now. Royal blue shorts with like yellow stripes. It's somewhere in between, Matt. I would say a Brazil shirt, the classic Brazil shirt, and a Sweden shirt from the 1980s. Absolutely 100% an Adidas templated kit. You know, I'm sure they lots of teams would have had this kit, but it's a beauty, Matt, isn't it? Isn't it an absolute beauty?
No, I do love it. It's almost of that era of, again, these kits always evoke memories, like, someone rocking up, in the playground who was, better at football and more good looking than you, and probably like had the cool Adidas stuff, and you like all you wanted was like a logo shirt. But this shirt, it was probably worn by Sweden, Brazil, potentially Norwich. And what they've done, what I love about these kits is, like you say, you've got the Adidas in the top right, and then the Oxford logo, not symmetrical at the same point as the Adidas, but kind of just stuck on further down on the left-hand side. But it is, an interesting one, and very, like you say, evocative of the early 1980s. And it's cool, man. It's cool. It's very cool.
It's a beautiful kit. Also, Matt, interestingly, the first ever kit, Oxford United kit, to have what we now consider the traditional kind of Ox logo on it. Way. Absolute way. It was designed by a famous person called Desmond Morris. I've forgotten exactly why he was famous. He was a human...
Desmond Morris?
The Desmond Morris, who did that well-known documentary all about human behaviour and so on.
Yeah. He designed our initial logo.
Because he was on the board and he designed the logo.
That is brand new information for me.
Yeah. Know your history, mate. Know your history. But so the first ever shirt to have the Oxford logo, the Ox logo, as we now know it. I just think it's a thing of beauty, absolute thing of beauty.
Have you ever seen one of these in the wild?
Very, very occasionally. Very occasionally. You'll see there's definitely somebody who wears one to the games occasionally. I mean, it's looking very old and faded now. And one not too long ago, one did pop up on eBay again, which was a ridiculous price. But I loved it. I absolutely love this shirt. A terrible time for the club. This is when the club was probably closest to going out of business. It was around then that Maxwell was taking over. It was around that time as well that, shortly after he started thinking about merging Oxford and Reading. So a really bad time for the club, but a beautiful, beautiful shirt.
Absolutely.
You go next.
Shall we move on to our next one, which I've selected? I think a lot of people listening will love this shirt and have fond memories of it, or maybe have just seen it for the younger fans and thought, "Oh, that's cool." I'm talking about the 1993-94 shirt, and I see this shirt, and my mind straight away goes to Magilton, goes to Johnny Byrne, goes to Chrissy Allen. It goes to that wonderful FA Cup run we had, where I think we drew up at Ellen Road, and then we came back to the Manor and we won 3-2. And then also we nearly beat Chelsea in the 5th round. I remember the opening game of the season, which I think was a 3-2 win against Portsmouth. And it was a very sunny day, as it often is, obviously, in August. And I just remember feeling full of optimism, like this was going to be a great season. And then things just didn't quite work out. I think Brian Horton went early on. Dennis Smith came in. And we went on that run, but a lot of damage was done early on in the season. I think we actually ended the season. I think we bought Mattiellia, Johnny Byrne, maybe. a few of those kind of iconic players, and we actually ended the season really well. But of course, it was a, this will ultimately go down in history as a relegation shirt. But yeah, match winner, the manufacturer, it's obviously got this natty kind of design on the arm. I think one of our, obviously we had a collared shirt the season before, but this is another collared shirt, and Unipart there, of course, which is so synonymous with Oxford United in the 90s. So yeah, I love this shirt. Love this shirt. You see quite a few of them on match days still. It's an absolute classic.
It's a weird shirt, isn't it? I remember when it came out, I was really like unsure about it. It was the first real shirt, Matt, that we had that had gone a bit kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Like, because we'd always been slightly kind of conservative. I guess there was the kind of the yellow stripy one from the last days in the top division,
Yeah.
which was a bit kind of weird. But this was like genuinely a bit unusual. The colour's a bit weird, like on it as well. I find the colour
the
a bit.
colour is strange on it. It's slightly rounded, and also I forget, but that was of course you can see it there, but for those watching, but it's centenary, of course.
Yeah.
But,
I'll let you into the top 8 just because it was. I mean, it's kind of important for the club because it was the first slightly weird shirt, and this was a time. It's like I don't even remember Matt. Like Matchwin were bringing out all sorts of weird shirts at the time. Every single team. Our away shirt that season was the original deck chair.
I know
one.
we're doing home shirts, but should we just have a little moment to discuss that for a mention for that away shirt? The kind of deck chair away shirt.
Yeah, weird.
I've got it somewhere, but I think I've hidden it deep down in the drawer somewhere.
It's worth some money, that I tell you. Well,
true.
If anyone buys it, who knows? I will definitely let you have that one. Can I offer you? What shall I offer you? I'm going to offer you the season before that one.
Oh, I like this shirt.
This one, Matt. So this is also match winner. I've got one here actually. Here we go. So this is I don't know how you describe it. Slightly kind of orangey yellow coloured shirt
it's a strange yellow, isn't it?
With kind of blue ribbon, navy blue ribbony designs on the shoulders. Again, a collar, which we hadn't really had a collared shirt.
No, I think that's maybe our first one, wasn't it?
Well, certainly since like the 70s, maybe, since cotton shirts. Classic Unipart sponsor. This was my first ever Oxford United shirt, Matt. So this is from 1990. I've got this one in 1992, actually. I bought this, Matt, so I was getting the bus up from London to go to Oxford. And I was sitting on the bus, and who should get on at Shepherd's Bush roundabout but Les Phillips? And he sat literally on the seat opposite me, not opposite, next to me. I was like, oh my God, I'm sitting next to Les Phillips, like obviously like Milk Cup superstar, real Oxford United legend. And I was really shy and really nervous. And I didn't know what to say to him. So I waited and I waited and I waited. And when we got into Headington, we're pulling up, we're just about to get off the bus. I said to him, are you playing today? Is that all I could think of to ask? Because he hadn't played, he'd been like injured for absolutely ages. And he said, no, I'm injured, mate. I'm injured, mate. And we got chatting and we walked up to the Manor ground together and we got to the gates and he said, wait here a second. And he went into the grounds and he came back and he gave me a free ticket to the game. So that saved me like 15 quid or whatever it was. So with the kind of 15 quid burning a hole in my pocket, the extra 15 quid, I went to the club shop and I treated myself to this shirt. I just think it's quite a nice shirt, actually, in a funny kind of way.
What a story!
What a story! Good on Phillips.
Lovely Les Phillips, who is the nicest man, as we know, in football.
You say that about lots of Les. You said that about Les Robinson as well.
If you're called Les, you are the nicest person. It's a fact. But just two things about that. I know we're speaking about shirts, but that kit is possibly the shortest shorts we ever had of any football kit. And that was early 90s as well. So, and I think I'm right in saying, I could be wrong, and I'm sure someone will write a letter in or whatever people do. I believe people use social media these days as well. But I believe that the start of that season was potentially the first time we ever had our team photo outside Blenheim Palace.
Ooh, yeah, I think you might be right, actually.
Potentially. I seem to remember that. But great kit. I'm taken again to David Penny and that game at Swindon, 2-2, I think it was, live on TV.
Oh yeah,
David
yeah.
Penny scissor kick. I've got the feeling Mike Ford might have got the other goal, but yeah.
The 5-5 draw, people might remember as well,
Oh, the
which is
5-5 draw.
if you, I mean, everyone knows the history of the 5-5 draw, but if you're of a younger persuasion, and you've never heard the story about a 5-5 draw, that happened in that shirt. We were 5-2 down at home against Portsmouth with about 8 minutes left.
I think we have 5-2 less. I think there was less time left.
Certainly in the last 30 seconds of the game, we were 5-3 down. We scored twice in the last 30 seconds.
If you've not seen it, check it out because it's classic. And actually, yeah, you can go down a bit of a YouTube rabbit hole, but do it because it's an excellent hour to waste. There was a period in that season where we were on great form, but also we've just played in really entertaining matches. I remember a 5-3 defeat at Upton Park when goals were flying in here, there, and everywhere. Magilton in his pomp, all that kind of thing. So yeah, do check that out. But yeah, a classic, iconic Oxford United kit.
Don't look it up on YouTube. Watch this podcast on YouTube, and I'll edit the goals in to that bit that we were just talking about.
Do that.
All right, good stuff. Go on, Matt, your choice.
Shall I do a recent one? All right.
Yeah, do
so why don't we do? Oh no, I've not got it, but hopefully you've got it there, Dan. Let's do last season's kit, which I think will always forever go down as
season before.
Sorry, right. Let me do that again.
Carry on. I'm going to keep your mistakes in.
Okay. So of course it's not last season because last season we stayed up in the championship. This will forever go down as the return to the championship kit. Now, let's speak a bit about this kit. Obviously, maybe it's just the memories for me, almost like getting back to the big time, and that wonderful playoff semi-final against Peterborough, that incredible day at Wembley. But I actually really genuinely like this shirt, and I'm a bit disappointed we've gone back to a collar because I actually quite like a round neck. I think maybe as I get a bit older, and I think the only thing I don't like about that kit is the sponsorship on it, the BG, and that maybe that's something to do with the fact that it's my dad's initials as well. But actually, I like the pinstripes. I know it's in the navy blue and not the royal blue, but that kind of nod to 84, 85. I think the fact that we did fantastic things in it, I see the shirt and I see Murphy, I see Rodriguez and I see Harris and I see Cam. And yeah, for me, it's right up there. You don't agree, Dan, do you?
Honestly, Matt, I don't love this shirt. I don't like a round neck. I think round necks are controversial in football kits. Whenever I'm, maybe it's, because I've got such a strong neck, and not because I've got double chin or anything, but I just find it a bit kind of constricting whenever I wear it. I want a bit of looseness around the neck. It just reminds me of wearing like a kind of, I'd never wear a shirt buttoned up to the top. I notice you're wearing your shirt done up to the right.
Cantona.
Yeah, I can't do that.
It's a strong look.
Well, I bow to your fashion sense generally. But yeah, I don't like a round neck. I also think the colour's a bit kind of wishy-washy.
Yeah, I'm not a massive fan of the colour. You're right there, actually.
And the BG. It's good to know that your dad is in fact Barry Gibb. That's a.
But I do wonder. I do wonder if after a few years this one will go down as an all-time classic. I think because it's been so recent, it's probably difficult to fully appreciate it. But I think in a few years we'll look back and go, "Oh, that was a nice shirt."
It's not going to make my top format, no matter what. I'm afraid to say.
Okay.
All right, what shall I go for? I'm going to surprise the audience now.
Do it.
I'm going to go really old school. Not like 70s, not 60s even. I'm going to go back, Matt. And this is thanks to the Oxford Kits website. I saw this one. This is the 1949-1950 shirt. And I just love this.
It's a banger.
It is an absolute banger. This is going back to the Headington United days, listeners. This is it's slightly kind of orangey colour. It's a solid colour on the front. It's got, again, collars, nice big kind of collar, buttons, solid navy blue sleeves, and a kind of really old-fashioned Headington United badge with the kind of the red ox and a beautiful kind of badge. I just think it's an absolute banging shirt. I would, if the club brought this out, I would 100% be buying one. Be like pajamas or something, but it's a beauty. It's an absolute
It's
beauty.
really good. You sometimes see those Headington United scarves about on match day.
Yeah.
And this, I don't know exactly is it burnt orange? Is it old gold? I'm not sure. But you see this kit, and you just imagine it being really heavy and uncomfortable to wear as soon as the rain came down.
Can you imagine how much it weighs?
and proper smell. But it's classic. This is one, I saw this shirt and I was like, I wonder if there is one or two left in the world somewhere.
It's so moth-eaten by now.
So moth-eaten, but imagine.
Pick it up and just disintegrate.
But it's incredible. I just love the logo and stuff. I wonder if, when we do come up to like our 150th anniversary or something, maybe there might be a little nod to this because it's an absolute classic. And if you do have one lurking about, let us know. There must be one still somewhere in this world.
I wish we had the Oxford Kit person on the website. I'd love to know where they got all this information from. I would love, because, as I said, it's so detailed. There's beautiful. He's made beautiful pictures of all the kits. I would love to know where he got the information from.
And I'm sure I know the answer to this, Dan, but presumably absolutely no video footage of an Headington team playing.
I've trawled the internet. There is the closest we've got. If you go onto YouTube, it's owned by British Pathé, so I'm not going to be flouting their copyright stuff. But if you go onto YouTube, there is a game that we played against Bolton Wanderers, ironically, in about 1953, which Headington United lost 4-2. But I mean, that's the oldest footage I can find anywhere of Headington United or Oxford United. Go on, hit me with one. Which year are you going to give us next?
Okay, well, I don't think anyone will be too surprised to hear this one mentioned, particularly considering our new kit release and the whole kind of chat about it being a nod to retro. I am, of course, talking about this shirt, the 95-96 shirt, and kind of what hasn't been said about that season. But for me, it's an absolute classic. I mean, it is an absolute classic. Manor Leisure, and I wanted to have a little chat about Manor Leisure, who are obviously the manufacturer of the kit. Dan, who were Manor Leisure? Presumably, like our in-house merchandise that we decided we were going to launch or something like that. But
if you read the Oxford Kit's website, there are kind of nods and hints, because we had a few years where we kind of made our own kits. And every time that's happened, there's a nod and there's a wink to who supplied the kit. It would have been probably a kit manufacturer as we know it, but they would have paid some sort of fee to put Manor Leisure on it, I guess. I don't know. Yeah. It is a lovely, lovely kit, and I have so many happy memories of this kit. It's two really weird seasons we had. We had one season that basically finished at Christmas, and we had one season that started at Christmas. But unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, they weren't the same season. If we combined the pre-Christmas 94-95 and then the post-Christmas of 95-96, we'd probably have had about 1 million points.
Yeah.
Probably the greatest. It would have been the highest points tally of all time. As it transpired, we fell apart in the first season we're in it, and we had an absolutely incredible end to the second season. Where it's a beautiful kit.
It's a beautiful kit, and there's been so many amazing memories in it as well. My favourite goal ever scored by an Oxford United player was scored in this shirt, that Joey Beauchamp volley against Blackpool. Obviously, remember David Rush taking off the shirt and swinging it round his head in that 4-0 win against Peterborough. That Massey and Moody celebration at Wickham. So many iconic Oxford United moments happened in this shirt. And as you say, Dan, a real topsy-turvy kind of 2 seasons in this shirt. Matt Elliott is an absolute pomp. They're just great times. And you mentioned it at the top of the show, but that giant Ox logo as well kind of built into it. I'm wearing the shirt now. It's kind of cool, isn't it? And maybe the one thing missing on this new kit that's just come out, but yeah, I really like this kit. Always love this kit.
It reminds me a lot of university. Where I lived at university in Hull, there's like 4 or 5 houses backing onto each other, all which were university-owned houses. And they were massive, like old Victorian houses. And there's a big garden in the middle. And in that garden, we played football, like, almost every day. We'd play, it's like we'd get kind of teams together and play in the garden. I'd always wear that shirt. It just reminds me so much of that. And one of my friends at the time referred to the second ox on it as the GNU, the new. That always just made me laugh. The ghost new. How do you pronounce new? GNU. How do you pronounce?
I'm not sure, mate.
Yeah. Yeah. Brilliant shirt. Possibly my favourite ever. Actually.
Well, we'll see. But I mean, it was an absolute classic.
God, is that almost all? We've got one more, I think. We've got one more,
haven't we?
Which one is it?
Yeah. And I think we've saved one of the best for last.
Yes, here we go. 2009, 2010. The back on the coupon shirt, we're going to call
exactly it.
Now, I think we have to say this is a templated Nike shirt, and these, you'd go down to the park and you'd see people in this template of shirt. But Matt, I'm going to say I love this shirt because, first of all, it's that day. You associate shirts with the day, and that is totally and utterly, we'll always think of Alfie Potter, Matt Green, James Constable, that whole day. But it's also, for me, Matt, the first shirt we'd had in years that wasn't a deep embarrassment.
Yeah.
We had a series of absolutely crap shirts before that. Let's call them the Carlotta years.
Yeah.
I do own most of them upstairs because, I was at the time trying to give the club a bit of money just to support them. But they were dreadful shirts. Crap brand, crap material, crap look. And then this one came along and actually it looked quite smart. I think having a Nike swoosh obviously kind of helps a little bit. If I ask my son what his favourite Oxford shirts are, he always goes for the ones with the Nike swoosh because he's a cool young kid, likes a bit of Nike. But it is actually just quite a nice shirt as well, I think.
I almost saw this as the return to the Football League, absolutely. But I think, to your point there, the re-professionalisation of Oxford United, it just feels like a proper shirt after going through some absolute rascals, as you say, And this is my daughter's favourite shirt, and I've actually got one for her, which has got, for people watching TV, the actual playoff final little, it's got the date and what the game was and all that. So we managed to get that shirt for her as well. So it's
TV.
Huh?
Did you say for people watching on TV?
Yeah. Yeah.
Which channel's this on then?
7.
Yeah,
YouTube. But yeah, little Hartwell on the back as well. Nice touch. But my only criticism of it is it's again a slightly weird shade of yellow, which I don't think you can quite see on camera, but it's got a slight orange tinge, But it's a beautiful shirt. And again, like that, the Nike thing just made it feel like we were destined going back to the big time. Such a happy day that was. Such an incredible day, which we've spoken a lot about on this pod. But yeah, a good shirt, Dan. And that's kind of brings us to the 8 that we've picked. I'm sure there's probably people listening going, oh, why don't you pick this one? Why don't you pick that one? A bit of an amazing Thailand or something like that. But we've had some great kits down the years. We've had some absolute rascals, and maybe that's a separate podcast in itself. So what is the greatest Oxford United kit from those 8? Should we whittle it down to 4, Dan?
Let's whittle it down to 4, Matt. I'm going to insist. Well, I'm going to insist we have the one that you're wearing, first of all.
I think it's got to be in there, hasn't it?
So this is 94 to 96. Has to be there. Absolutely, 100%.
I think we both agreed on that.
Good. All right. What else do we absolutely insist on?
Okay. Well, I'll propose one, and I think it's the one that we just talked about. And I think for a number of reasons, I would love this to be in the top 4. Great memories, great day, absolute, maybe the most important day ever. But I think what it meant, we came, as you say, off the back of about 8 seasons of shit kits.
It's just a little bit templated for me, Matt.
Oh.
Just a little bit
Okay, so
templated.
that one's on the line for the moment.
Borderline. Can I make a really maverick suggestion? I want the 1949-1950 kit in there.
I'm in.
All right,
Mate. I was going to suggest that one next. I'm wholeheartedly in for that. And at some point, I want the club to reissue that.
Agreed. And when they do, I'm going to get you to model it. Given that you've proven your fitness over the last weekend.
Yeah, look like Mr. Chumley Warner in it.
All right, let's go. I think we have to go retro as well. I think to not have a kit that we wore for 3 years and probably 2 of the most successful years in the history of our club, I think we have to go for that 1980. What was it? 1983 to 1985.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to suggest it was almost too obvious, and maybe we were like, loving it for the wrong reasons. But it's got to be in there, hasn't it?
It has to be.
So we got 95, 96, we've got 84, 85, and we've got 49, 50. So we've got space for one more.
I'm kind of torn.
Because it's not going to be 23, 24 for you, right?
No.
And I'm happy to forego that one. We're unsure about the 2010 return to the Football League shirt. Okay, fine. Which leaves us with either 93, 94, which is obviously a classic, or 92, 93, which you're holding now.
Or
1980. Adidas.
The Adidas. I mean, honestly, if I'm walking into a shop now, if I'm walking into that big superstore that sells all like historic football kits, and I see all of those shirts.
It's a good point.
I'm going Adidas. I'm going for the Adidas bad boy.
Very, very good point. Keith Cassells,
Peter Foley, young Malcolm Shotton, probably Gary Briggs, I'm guessing as well. David Fogg with his moustache and big moustache. You can have a moustache.
29 at 59.
Yeah, exactly. Can we put Adidas in?
You know what? My only thing against it is that you mentioned it was a templated shirt. But you're right. If I walked into a shop and I saw it, would I exchange a lot of good hard cash for it? Yeah, I would.
There we
go. Would
go.
I buy over the 92, 93 shirt and the 93, 94 shirt? Yeah, I would.
There you go.
It's in.
There you go.
So we've got 49.50.
Yeah.
We've got 81, 82.
Yep.
We've got 84, 85. We've got 95, 96. I mean, we've got a couple of rogue ones in there, but I'm all for it.
I think people might. It's controversial not to have one of the top division shirts, but you know what? I didn't mind the pinstripe one. I know it's a controversial choice. I didn't mind the pinstripe one, but the weird one we got relegated from. But I just associate that shirt so much with a relegation. I can't put it in there. I'm happy with our top format. We'll put it out on our socials and we'll let the audience decide.
So what is the greatest Oxford United kit from these four? It's over to you guys to decide. In our last competition, Dan, precisely how many entries did we get?
It's a nice round number.
How round are we talking?
Probably the roundest number that probably exists in maths.
Okay.
We didn't get any.
Last episode, we asked people to vote, which was the greatest ever Oxford United football team. How do we decide the winner then?
So when we were discussing what the greatest ever Oxford United team was, we put it out there. We asked you to vote on our socials. No one voted at all. But what we can do with the metric I'm happy to use, Matt, partly because it validates me, is we can go with the most TikTok views. And I can say safely that the 1996 team, which arguably one of the best teams ever in the history of football, came third in our poll. The 1986 team, the most successful team in the history of our club, came second. And the 2016 team, Matt, came absolutely 100% top by some clear distance as well. So vindication for my excellent storytelling.
I'm not sure of the technicals on that. Slightly dubious there, Dan. I'm not going to lie. I don't know. Maybe people were voting on the presenting style more than the actual content.
Or maybe it's just the weird TikTok algorithm, or maybe the fact that younger people remember the 2016 season and younger people on TikTok. For this one, I'll put the video out on all of our socials. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on Blue Sky, although we haven't got much of a presence on either of those. We're very big at the moment, Matt, as you well know, being a huge social consumer. We're very big at the moment on TikTok. We're getting lots of views on our videos. YouTube Shorts, you can find us on, and on normal YouTube as well. So wherever you find our video, please comment underneath. We'll tally up all the votes, and you can tell us which is the greatest ever Oxford United kit.
And hopefully we'll get a slightly bigger round number this time around.
The big man with a big goal on the big occasion.
So, Matt, we are nearly done. I've got a question for you. How are we getting on with the celebrity guest you promised us back, I think, in about episode 7? You know, not that long ago.
Celebrity guest or celebrity guests? I've got irons in fires, Dan.
No way.
I've got irons in fires as we speak. So, you know, if that's not a tease, I don't know what is. But leave it with me. One has agreed in principle, so that's good news.
Yeah.
We've got a great theme for that episode. We just need to agree a date, which, you know, it isn't the easiest. But yeah, we've got some big things coming this season, Dan.
And can you give us a clue? Somebody from the world of showbiz, or somebody?
I've got someone in the world of media, potentially someone in the world of music, and potentially an ex-player.
Wowzers!
And that's a tease, isn't it?
That's a hell of a tease. I shall hold my breath with.
Or don't hold your breath.
No, well, yeah. What is it? I will. Yeah,
Right.
I can't think about that.
Anyway,
Shall we just get in a couple of weeks? We might be President Cup champions, of course, by then.
can you imagine? President Cup champions. Oh no, how's that song go?
President Cup champions. You'll never sing that.
Yeah. President Cup champions. You'll never sing that.
I might leave that in with all the bad editing. Thanks ever so much for listening, everyone. It's been great fun. Matt, thank you. I'm going to take all of this nylon out of the kitchen now before my wife kills me.
I'm very static at the moment.
I'm getting a little sweater. I can report the new shirt does make you a little bit sweaty when the sun comes out.
I'm not
God, they must be
surprised.
boiling
That
in
size that
Indonesia.
you got.
Yeah, next time I'm going to go extra large, I think, definitely. Or maybe just go on a diet before next.
There is.
See you in a couple of weeks, Matt, and I'll be a slim Dan.
Well, it is pre-season, mate. So
Exactly that. Cheers, mate. Well done scoring last week as well. Good stuff. Good to see you.
cheers.
Take care. Cheers, mate. Bye.
Bye-bye.
The big man with a big goal on the big occasion.